Hey world, what's going on? Welcome back to another awesome episode of Be Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So this Sunday, I got another awesome guest, Shaneeta. Shaneeta, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Shaneeta is the founder of On My Mama podcast, and she's also a mom reset coach. So if you have any questions, moms out here, tonight is the night for you to join in and ask all your questions because it's about to get real on my mama. But before we get started, before we get into it, I just want to do a quick shout out to Creative Dream Collective. She does all our flyers, she does all our marketing stuff. So just want to give her a quick shout out. And if you need anything done flyer wise, definitely hit her up. T-shirt designs, anything like that. She's good at it. I could attest to it. Shaneeta is the founder of Renova Self Care. So, fun fact about that. Guess what my daughter name is though? Nova. So when I saw the name, I was like, oh my gosh, you got my daughter's name. That was cool.
Yes, and fun fact, my daughter is also Nova.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is meant to be good to have you
It is
on,
meant to
man.
be. Thank you. Thank you.
What led you to naming your daughter Nova?
Well, I like that question. So, shout out to my firstborn, who is natural. I was a boy mom for almost 13 years. I never saw myself having a daughter. I didn't know if that would happen for me. And so when I met my husband, and we got pregnant and we found out it was a girl, I was like, man, like this is incredible. My husband is really into like all the planetaries. He's into astronomy and I'm really into purposeful names. Hence my son's name is Natural, right? And so I just started putting things together that I thought would mean something for us. This was new. This was new for both of us. He came into our relationship with two boys. I came in with one boy. We were having our first girl together. Nova just hit me. Like I came across the name Nova and I was like, oh, well, this is dope. For one, it has the meaning in Latin of something new. So it's significant of like a renewal. And then two, in the planets and all the universe, it's a star. It's the brightest star and it's a burst of energy. And I was like, wow, like that's amazing. I love that. We're going to bring in this new life, this new energy. When I presented it to him, he was like, okay, I like that. And his name is Naji. So that also started with an N.
Okay.
So that was dope. And then another piece you don't know, her middle name is Sky. I think that speaks for itself, but she embodies her name so well. She is Nova Sky.
It's amazing, man. I like the definitions and all that you put into it, the thoughts and the meaning of it. Because we searched for the meaning as well, but my wife's grandmother name was Novasia. It's interesting because we didn't even thought about her. We just thought, oh, Nova is a super cool name. We should name her Nova.
Yep. And it is a cool name.
Nova and Noah is the twins. They're both twins.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's so cool. I have a little cousin. His name is Noah. And when we had Nova, first we didn't tell anybody what her name was going to be. They had to wait till she was born. And then when we did like the announcement, like she's here, we put out she's Nova Sky. And then my little cousin was like, she's named after me because he's Noah. She's named after me. And I was like, okay, we could go with that. I love that.
So tell me a little bit about how you got to Renova Self Care.
How did I get to Renova Self Care? It's been a journey. And you and I were just kind of doing some pre-talk before we actually got on here live.
The show before the show.
Yeah, the show before the show. And I'm really transparent. So we're just giving it to you real and you were being honest with me. And Renova came about because I've always had a thing for wanting to help people. And that started from when I was a little girl. I've always wanted to help people. And I think I started with my own family. And then it kind of branched out to helping my friends and being that friend, that strong friend that everybody could rely on. They could call and get a little bit of advice and a little bit of crazy mixed in with it. And then throughout the years, I got into working in behavioral health. So working in behavioral health and just developing my own mind and my superpowers of helping people kind of started to really give me this itch to want to like do it more, do it more. And I was like, what level should I do this at? But I was scared. I was really scared. And so I just kept diving back into corporate America and riding that wave. I think till God said, wave no more. And although I've been doing the work part time for the last few years, this past fall, early this fall, I got laid off from my corporate job. Actually, a really big percentage of us got laid off. And a lot of people were heartbroken, but I was low key like, oh my gosh, like this is God answering my prayers because I was too scared to do it for myself. I don't know if I would have done it. And so I started looking into what I wanted this to look like, to feel like. And a name means so much to me. And that's how I got to Renova. Because again, Nova has that meaning. And then the Renova part was just like this ultra brand new. Like we're stepping out on faith. We're letting go of the fear. Like you're going to lean into your superpowers. And that's what Renova is.
That's amazing. It's interesting that you said that you were laid off because sometimes we hold on for so long and God is just, or the universe, or whatever you believe in, tells us, like, you've been holding on too long. All right, here, I'm kicking you off the cliff. And it sounds like that's what happened for you. Just go. Like, all right, now you have nothing, you have no excuses. The fear is gone, like, what are you gonna do now? And in that moment, I guess it birthed Renova self-care.
It did. And my daughter, when I was going through all these different names and these possibilities, and I got to Renova, her eyes lit up. She was like, and I wanted this to really be meaningful, but the fact that I could give it as an homage to her and some of my parental journey, raising her, and then she could be there to see it like as a seed and now watch it grow. She always asks me all the time, like, are you working on Renova? Are you working on Renova? And I'm like, yes, I'm working on Renova Nova.
It's cool. So what, and I know it's gonna get interesting because I got all the mom questions for you tonight. So what made you dive into, okay, all right, I got pushed off. What made you dive into being a mom life coach versus just a regular life coach?
Because the mom life journey is real. It's too real to not, first for me, I think it's help mold me and make me and break me and make me again into who I am today. Like to how I show up in rooms is because of a lot of things I learned from being a mother. And I've connected with other women in the respects of what they're going through in their different seasons of motherhood. And wow, what a connection I've been able to build with different people, just talking about what we're going through with our kids. Some people just want to feel seen in light conversation. They just want to know that they're meant. I feel like God has given me that as a superpower because I am a super mom. Doesn't mean I'm a perfect mom, but I'm a super mom. And I want to help other moms figure out like their way to how to get to their superpowers in their motherhood. So it's really powerful for me just to be a mom reset coach. I'm a crier too, so if I cry, don't judge me.
Yeah.
I think also my mom would be really proud of me because I know how much my mother loved me and she's passed now. But I think she'd be proud of me on this journey to be the best mother I could. She didn't get to give me a lot more of the years I think she would have loved to because she passed when I was 22. And so, like, I'm momming for me and her.
So I'm gonna give you an air hug right now because that touched me, and condolences, and I know she would be super proud of everything that you're doing now.
She is. She is. And my grandma, too. They are. They will.
So tell me, what has been one of your toughest days being a mom?
One of my toughest days. Well, I'm gonna tell you about a tough season. Right now, I'm in a season where there are some rough days, like there's some rough weeks. There's some big wins and then there's some feelings like, damn, I lost. I lost that. But I keep getting up. You know, it's like you get knocked down 10 times, you get up nine, right? Like you just keep getting up. My husband works overseas, and so I'm a single mom. So I'm dad, I'm grandma and grandpa, and I'm auntie. And I'm all of those things all throughout the week for my girls. I keep a really tight circle, support circle, and I'm guilty at times. I have been guilty of not reaching out as much as I should to ask for help. So yeah, it's just a season. It's a season right now. It's a season with the almost 2-year-old. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. And then a pre-puberty young lady. So there's a lot of things that going on in my house.
So they say it get easier during teenage years. Is that true or nah?
No, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Stop. Don't stop right now. Stop listening to them. It doesn't get easier. I think you just continue to build connection. You can build more of an understanding if you have one with your child. You got to set the foundations though first, because we can't come out here trying to parent a child at 12 or 13, 14 when you weren't really instilling those things when they were younger. Nah, that's just not going to work out in your favor. That's where a lot of struggles come in. But if there's been consistency when you go through those rough and choppy waters, y'all can get back on. You can get back on the boat together. You can get back to understanding.
That's phenomenal right there because I saw an influx of people that working with their children at sports at a younger age now. There's people that are training them to jitsu before they're 5 years old, or teaching them baseball 2 years, 3, 4 years old. I saw this guy in the gym. I don't know if you follow him or seen him, but he's a dad, and in the gym he was working out and had the baby working out with him, like on him, so by time he was 4 years old, he was already working out. So that's great that you said that you gotta still instill those values from the youngest age. So that's good.
You do, and it's in the Bible, right? Like if you train a child in the way that they should go, and they get older, they won't depart from it. They do depart. They do depart but they have a way of coming back to it because you set the foundation.
Yeah, and not that is a bad thing because we all gotta find our way. Cause I was one of those that departed and try to find, but
Nuh-uh. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a minute.
I got real right back in. I'm like, no, 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 man. So, what are some advice that you would give to moms who are struggling to deal with children and work-life balance and the home life?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would give them the advice of grace. First and foremost, grace. You have to give yourself grace because you're going to have those hard days. You're going to feel like what you did wasn't good enough. You're going to be really down on yourself. Like that mom guilt is really heavy and real. Actually, getting ready to launch a series on my podcast about mom guilt. And that can be pretty heavy. That could be a pretty heavy weight. So what I would say is give yourself grace is the first thing. Know that this is not going to be a perfect journey. Also say get your priorities in order. Like what are the priorities? Because you can't do everything, right? You cannot. You got to think about the things that are feeding your spirit, the actual feeding food, putting the food on the table, right? Those things and keeping your peace. Those are non-negotiables. So sometimes you're going to get stretched thin. You're going to get pulled in a lot of directions. Sit down with yourself and prioritize. Like what are the things that need to be done? What are the things that can maybe wait till later? That's some of the key things that I would say for a mom.
So, prioritizing self-care, being there in the moment, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes self-care is like not gonna be on the priority list. It depends on what's going on in your life. Right? You're like, okay, I want to go get a massage. I want to connect with my friends, but maybe it can't be this week. Right? I have so much stuff to do. But you're gonna keep it on the priority list and say, when can I do it? Like when can I make that happen? Don't just say it's not gonna happen at all. It's just a matter of, okay, if I have to push it back just a little bit, let me make sure I do get to it because maybe there's recitals this week. Maybe you have a big presentation to do at work. There might be some travel that has to happen. And if you're so caught up in what you didn't get to do, you're not going to celebrate the little wins of what you did get to do. And that's another thing too. Glad that piece came out because you have to celebrate the little wins. There was times I was literally celebrating. I got up out the bed and I was dressed and ready for work. I was like, I'm showing up. Like I'm showing up. I got up, I'm dressed, I'm ready. My kids are fed, ready out the door. What do I need to do to celebrate? And I would celebrate it. And it sounds goofy, but it really does something for you emotionally and mentally.
How do you manage all the activities between 3 boys and, 2-year-old? How are you able to manage and prioritize in that situation?
Well, we have a beautiful blended family. So the boys don't live at home full time. They're with their moms. My son is grown, so he's out the house. And then I have the two girls and I have dogs. So we don't want to leave the dogs out. But for the two girls, how I manage. I'm heavy on my calendar. Like me and my calendar are rocking and rolling because if you're not on my calendar, you almost don't exist. Put it on the calendar. We have too much technology out here nowadays to not just be able to talk to your phone and say, hey, add in Nova's basketball at 7 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm really big on keeping stuff on the calendar. Yeah, that's a huge thing for me is making sure that everything I need to do is kind of written out. I'm also utilizing ChatGPT a lot more for what is good for it. And it's good for like creating schedules. It's good for helping you have a second pair of eyes. Because I'm not always going to have my husband's eyes, or for that single mom out here, or for the mom who has a partner who isn't as present as they'd like them to be in the season. Ask ChatGPT to help you. What you need help with? You need help with this schedule, girl? I got you. And it was literally like stuff my week. This is my week right here. This is like grocery lists. That's workout plans. Um, that's a lot of stuff. So I'm using my resources wisely.
So, what would you say is one of the most challenging moments becoming a coach for you?
You want it to sound nice or me to be really real?
I want you to be really real.
The most challenging things is owning my own stuff. Like I have to own my own stuff. Like I have to make sure that I'm in a good place because the things that I'm trying to teach other moms to do, I want to make sure that I'm practicing what I preach. Exactly um, on the journey along with them in my own household. So I don't want to be a fraud. I'm not a fraud. That's really big to me. I'm showing up for myself. One self care thing that definitely always gets on the priority list is my mental health. So my therapist and me, we're like besties. So that's that's one thing that I don't play about. It's really important.
So, I got a question that came into the chat and it
Oh,
says, how do you recommend showing fairness when you have multiple children whose needs are different?
that's a good question. Multiple children needs are different. How do you show fairness? My husband taught me this some years ago. Interesting. He taught me to be fair, firm, and consistent. He used like military background. And I was like, what does that mean? What is fair, firm, consistent? And it means that to me, it means all situations are not going to look the same. And all children are different. You can't treat them all the same. You just look at what's going on in the moment and lean into what are the needs? Like who needs something right now? How do I support that need? Was this life or death? Let's look at the priorities here and communicate a lot with your kids. Let them know what you're thinking. It's easy, especially for I think parents coming from Black households to say "Do as I say, not as I do." But I try to really talk to my kids. And when my daughter is asking, well, why? And I'm like, well, first, because I said so, but then also because, so I'm letting them know. So I'm trying to let them know that it might not feel fair in the moment to this child, but this is why mom is making this decision because maybe there's a bigger priority that they don't understand as a child that I have to embrace as the parent. So that's what I would say. I'm trying.
I like that. That's awesome. My next question would be, what keeps you going from day to day?
God. God keeps me going. The love that I have in my life, so much love that God knew that I was going to need before I even got here. So just like I have so many supporters, so much love from my family and my friends. Um, so much inside determination, so much fire in me. I always won't be put out easy. So those are the things that keep me going. I like to think that I'm doing good work. My purpose is strong. I feel good about that.
So that's an interesting topic because purpose is something that a lot of people struggle to find or interpret. So what helped you come to your realization of purpose and how can somebody find theirs?
I This is me personally, right? I try not to be a judgmental person or a pushy person, but for me, hands down, it's crucial that you have some sort of spirituality in your life, whatever that looks like for you. That's where purpose comes in for me. Knowing that I serve a God that really loves me, that's really been there for me. And when I didn't have the words. I didn't have the voice, just my thoughts, just my prayers going up to him and just being able to get some peace, just be able to get some comfort that way. Or him sending a stranger to say something to me in the moment that I needed, getting an invite on a podcast, like just the little things. God set those things up for me. And I know that. So I think that's huge. Having some sort of grounding in your spirituality to find your purpose. That's how I found it. Going through, life's trials, tribulations, life will drag you around and then pick you up and hug you and then throw you back down and drag you around some more. I built a lot of resilience. And so I know that my purpose is strong. I know that God has kept me here to do good work. So that's how I found my purpose. So I would suggest that people really just ask, like, what am I here for? Say it out loud. Like, what am I here for? Get up in the morning with a purpose. Am I going to be loving? Am I going to be kind? What do I want my life to look like? Because this thing goes by fast,
Yeah.
so fast. And before you know it, you'll be wrapping it up. So make it mean something. But you can't if you don't know what you're here for.
Yeah. I think that's one of the deepest questions that I always get an opportunity to ask because for each person it's different. I like that spirituality is the base because I feel, not I feel, but in my journey as well, it's connecting with the spirit initially. For me, it was going like 48 hours without eating and just finding out like, look, it's no longer, I talk about the spiritual success versus the reality success. We get so caught up in all the houses, the cars, the money, the six-figure jobs, but that's all what everybody else said we should be having. But what's on the spiritual side, it's a different flow, it's purpose, it's abundance, it's a never ending alignment to a higher power.
You're absolutely right. And excuse me, for everybody watching, everybody listening, you ever had a six-figure paycheck coming in and nice cars in the driveway and money in your bank account and all the things that you thought you always wanted for success and you still weren't happy and you still felt sad and the depression still creeped in? That stuff really doesn't matter.
Jeez. Wow, you strike a nerve because I could definitely relate to because you have all those things and it's not fulfilling. You got it and it's like, now what? I did everything they said. So what else is there to do?
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. You really struck a nerve right there. So we talked about purpose. We talked about a good bit of things, but what would you say to the mom that is out there every day? She's dealing with the stay-at-home mom that's dealing with the children, taking them to school, and then have to come home and make dinner. But if dinner isn't ready, your husband is home and now she's panicking. What would you tell her?
Okay, so there's two Shaneetas inside me, and one wants to say one thing, and another wants to say the other thing, and they fighting. They're like fighting.
Say both. Let's hear both.
So one Shanita's want to be like, well, first of all, the husband, hopefully she married the right husband. And he's like, babe, what do you need help with when he gets home? He's not looking for that meal as soon as he gets home. He's looking to see how he needs to support his family when he walks in that house, right? Like that's the right husband. That's the right partner. So that's the one Shanita that wants to say something. And then the other Shanita is just like, grace. Remember I told you about that grace? Give yourself grace. Look at the day that you've had. Look at all that you've been able to get through throughout the day. And it's okay if dinner's not ready. Do you have a couple extra bucks? Can you order a pizza? Can you do that? And if you don't, can we look in the freezer and see if we have pizza? We could just throw in the oven because some days are gonna be like that. There's days when I just look at my daughter and look at my daughters. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it tonight. Today was a doozy. So what do we got for dinner? And it could be like, I just want some bagel bites. Okay, great. We're going to have bagel bites. It doesn't have to be a full on meal. It could be like, well, let's just stop and grab a bite from somewhere. I know sometimes financially that is not always possible, but for the times where it is, lean into it. You're going to spend the money anyway, somehow. Lean into it and go home. They're full. They're happy. They sleep well. I don't care. Sometimes for one of my daughters, it might be some fruit. She'll have some fruit and some cheese. She loves that and she is happy and she is happy. And my husband, I think I married the right husband. My husband, first of all, will cook me out of this house and home. Everybody knows that. He will come home and be like, what? And just chef this whole house apart. But he's also the husband who's going to say, what do you need help with? How can I help you? And I'm going to be like, this is what I need. He's going to help. He's going to support. He'll be like, let's cut up some fruit. Let's make some breakfast for dinner, whatever it is. I would say if you can't relate to that with the husband and you have a partner that doesn't make you feel like that, sit down with yourself and be real about it and maybe have some real conversations with your partner. That's not okay. Life is hard enough as it is, and we need to feel supported, especially in our home. I'm not trying to cause any conflicts or anything, but I'm just gonna be real.
Them look inward.
Yeah.
Okay. Disrupt their thinking.
Yeah, and then now we get all these thoughts like, Shaneeta, I had a conversation with my husband and whew, Well, hopefully he's the right husband. He's like, babe, I didn't know you felt like that. And I could do better. Because sometimes when we know better, we do better and we show up different. So give him that chance to show up different for you. If you show up different, you often encourage other people to show up too in a different way because you kind of command that. It doesn't have to be control and aggressive way. You can show up different in love.
So, how do you recommend wives incorporating their husbands into their routine?
So there's this thing, right? It's like a 50-50. Nope, it's 100-100. I'm giving my 100 most of the time when I can, because sometimes
Okay.
we'll be depleted and it's like, I only got 70% to give today. And your partner's giving their 100, and maybe they need to pick up a little of your slack, so they're giving 130 today while you're giving your 70, but it should always be everybody giving their very best. And our very best is not 50%. Our very best is 100. So keep that mind frame. I say start with that mind frame. And then the second thing is create your house. Like, what do you want your house to be? Doesn't have to be the house that you grew up in. It's not Samuel's house. It's not your friend Monique's house. It's your house. What is working for your house? What stability do y'all need? Have a conversation and be on the same accord about it. Just have that communication between the two of you and establish things that way. And if they start to fall apart and things don't feel good, like rework it. Plans are not plans to like be there forever. These things can, be fluid. They can change over time. Things do change. People change over time. Be okay with making some changes.
Change is never ended. Always something you gotta change, learn, grow from. So, with that being said, right? So, there's a whole bunch that goes into being a mom, and sometimes dads don't understand. So, what would you tell the mom that's been through it all day long and she's at the window rocking and it's the last moment for her and she just don't know what to do?
The first
She
thing that
had
came
one
up,
of those she had one of those poopy diapers moment. She was on the road taking the older daughter to school and
yeah.
had a blowout in the back of the car. And then came home. She just couldn't figure it out. And now she's at the window rocking and just needs a little bit of grace. What would you tell her?
First thing I wanted to tell her was call me. I wish she was my friend. I wish she was my friend or that she had a friend that would give to her what she needs in some of those moments. To just be able to call someone and vent and just get it out. Sometimes that's all we need, Samuels. We need somebody to hear us. We need somebody to see us and validate. Like the struggle is real, but you're doing it. You're like making this happen. The second thing is step away. It's okay if the room is a mess, the house is a mess, the kids are crying, as long as they're in a safe space, step away. And if you need to cry, cry. If you need to pray and cry, pray and cry. If you need to go take a shower, and do all the above, take a little bit of time for yourself and just kind of like regroup and then come back. You're not alone in this. It's hard. It's really hard. There's some seasons of motherhood that will sweep you off your feet and you just want to stay down. You just want to stay down, but don't stay down. Get back up. God gave you those babies for a really good reason. I bet you're doing a really good job. And remind yourself, like, say that in your head. Tell yourself, I'm doing a good job. It's just a hard moment, but this too shall pass. I'll get through it. And if you have a friend like me who loves you deep and who's going to try to make you laugh or just tell you that they're going to send you an air hug, call that friend.
So, you guys hear that out there, moms? If you're one of those moms that are going through it or having a long day and you're a stay-at-home mom, definitely reach out to Shaneeta or call a friend. Call a friend so you could talk to someone because sometimes, like she said, you just need to be heard and validated.
Yes. And all the difference that makes for somebody to hear you. I've had conversations. I've been on that end of it, the giving end of I just need to let this out and hey, I feel so much better. Just thank you. Or receiving it and having a mom say thank you. I just needed somebody to hear me.
So, what are some of those emotions that are brewing in you, like when you're going through something like that?
Man, what emotions don't come? Especially like after you have a baby, there's a million emotions. A study just came out that said moms can experience postpartum hormonal changes, influxes, all the above, up to 6 years after you have a baby. That's a
Wow.
long time. That's a long time to not be yourself, Samuel. So
So, lead into that, what do you suggest as a self-care routine for a single?
sometimes you don't get a lot of time. It doesn't have to be like a huge amount of time that you get for yourself. Care doesn't I think self-care has been in the past labeled as like, oh, I'm gonna go to the spa. This is, like going to get my hair and my nails done. It's fancy. That's not necessarily self care. Those are things we can do under the umbrella of self care, actionable things. But self care is, am I well mentally? Self care is, am I well emotionally? Self care is, how do I feel in my body and my skin? What support system do I have set up for myself? Am I asking for help? What resources do I have? Am I leaning into them? That's all self care. Looking at all those different things and seeing what you need in the moment so that you can fill whatever gap is going on for yourself. So I would say I do something called like a a mom life audit, and we look at all those things. So we're kind of seeing like where is your self care really at? Because it's not like, oh, I took 3 bubble baths this week. That's not self care. Like you're a single parent. What do you need to be able to keep this boat afloat the rest of the week when you're not in bubble baths? You can't live on a bubble bath. So look at those things. Like, am I asking for the help that I need? Am I open to it? Am I being real with myself? Like, am I happy with the kind of parent I'm actually being right now? Self care is just looking inward and taking care of those things that you can care for, because ultimately it's bringing a lot of peace that you might not have had before. And what feels better than that? What feels better than peace?
Oh man, I had self-care all wrong. I thought it was just going to the beach or something.
I thought it was just go to the beach. Yeah. Yeah. That means I haven't had any self care in a while. Well, been to the beach. But no, yeah, you had it wrong. So hopefully now you got it right. And I think, okay, so it feels maybe it feels a little bit more tangible for you too, to make sure that maybe your wife has some more self care for herself. Can you help her set up support systems for herself? Like, is she taking care of herself? Like, is she talking to a coach or a therapist? Does she journal? Self care can look like she's going on a walk. She's gets up 20 minutes earlier than she wakes up the kids just for that time for herself, right? Like, cause she's aware of what she needs, and she needs to be able to start her day, not with 1,000 mommies. That is self care.
That's interesting that you say that because I have a client that she take care of the kids, take the children, and she has a break between 9 and before going to her first client. And that's her time she takes to journal. And she says that's been working out really well for her. So
Mm.
self-care journaling does work. It's one of the things I recommend to all my clients, my therapy clients when I have them.
You do therapy? Are you a therapist?
Yeah, I am.
What point were we going to talk about that? Because I had no idea.
Yeah, so I have my own practice, a still waters therapy where healing overcome is and healing flows. So each one of my clients that comes in, I recommend them having a journal just because I'm only there once a week with them.
Yeah,
There are 6 other days that things are gonna come up, anger, other emotions, a whole bunch of things, excitement, and you probably won't remember the next time you see me. But if you journal it, we could go through it and see how we could have made it better or done something different.
I like that. I like that. I love that. Journaling it is really powerful. It's something about taking your thoughts, your emotions, and letting them be transcribed through you and physically putting it down. I'll be honest, I make excuses. So I'm not the best journaler, but I don't have a problem with setting up recollection of things through audio, right? Like just maybe doing an audio note of like, this was what the day was, or just is, something I experienced. So for moms who are like, I'm not about to journal, you can still take account of what's going on. You just use like your notebook from your phone and do audio.
And then I got that from also Jim Rohn too. Jim Rohn, he was a motivational speaker. He said, write it down. Just write it down. Get it out of your head. And you'll have more space in your head to think. You'll have more clarity. So it is a space to get everything out on paper and
It is.
understand.
It is. It is. I think sometimes journaling too is very therapeutic, but for a mom who lives in a lot of chaos, you could have stuff everywhere. There could be toys everywhere. Like, sometimes it's like, who could keep up with a journal? Right? Let's give you baby steps. And then ultimately you can graduate to that journal. That'd be a beautiful thing.
So I got a few more questions for you, Shanita. So what is the first thing somebody would experience if they decide to pick you as a coach today? What would the experience be like for them?
Well, the first thing is I'm gonna give them the experience of feeling heard. I do free 30-minute consultations so that you can tell me what's going I'm not going to assume that your walk is like everybody else's walk. I'm not going to assume that it's like mine, or that we have so much in common. It could be a very different experience for, and so I want to learn about it. So you can expect that I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to hear what it is that you need, and then we're going to work together in a partnership. Like, this is a partnership where I'm here to support you. You don't feel alone, and things are based off of what you told me that you love to experience in your house and not things that I think that you should have. Of course, I'm going to give you healthy recommendations, but I'm going to respect your individuality. I think those are big components for me, is making sure that people know that they're individually seen and heard. There's a lot of respect there, and I'm going to be very authentic, very honest. Sometimes you're going to be like, I can't believe you just said that. Well, I'm not a chat AI bot. Like, I'm a real person. I'm going to give you real quick some responses. But with that too, you also are going to get empathy from me. You're going to get humor. Some of my clients say I feel like a friend. So maybe they'll feel.
So, if anybody's watching this and they want to connect with you or get their first session with you, a discovery call, how can they connect with you?
So the best way to connect with me is through my Facebook, and that is Renova Self Care Coaching. I think you have the link in there. So please check that out. You can book a free 30-minute consultation, and we're just going to talk about you. We're going to talk about what's going on in your life, in your house. You won't have to be shy. You can use, and when you meet with me, you can use bad words. It doesn't matter. Like, we're just going to be real. And then you can decide if this is a good time for you, right? It's no pressure. You can also check me out on My Mama, my new launch podcast, my baby.
Congrats.
My baby. So I'm going to have guest speakers on there, but I'm also going to be looking for just feedback on what people want to hear, what they want to talk about. At some point, I hope to be able to, get live, you know, episodes in there and commentary and all the things, and just, you know, have a really, really good time with it. And then my email is renovaselfcare@gmail.com if you ever wanted to email me and ask a question. But yeah, I think those are the top 3 ways that will be good. My website is coming soon. It's under construction
Okay.
because I want it to be what I want it to be. That's just the
Yeah.
bottom line. I don't want to rush it.
Intentional.
Yes, very intentional. So that'll be up in for the new year or before. I'll at least have my landing page up and running so people can get a glimpse of like all the services written down, what Renova is, a little bit about who I am. So you can check out my website at renovaselfcare.com. But give me like 2 weeks.
Okay. And then my final question that I like to ask is, what is one thing that you thought that I would ask, but I didn't ask?
So hopefully my dad is still watching, because me and my dad were talking about this earlier. And my dad was like, well, what are the questions he's going to ask? Or I was like, I don't really know. This is kind of like freestyle, just very in the moment, which I love. But I was dreading. So tell me.
No, this ain't therapy.
So I'm so glad that we didn't start off like that. I love that you didn't start off like that. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you. Thank you. It made
That
things
just
look
sounds
so
like
much
therapy.
better.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
So much better. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, nah. Ooh, I don't even know if people don't watch if I start off my shows like that.
So tell me about yourself.
But Shaneeta, I want to thank you for coming on here and sharing your love, being transparent, and just being fully yourself. Thank you guys for coming on here. Thank you for coming on here. And then for everybody that watched and tuned in, all our live subscribers, all our live watchers, thank you for coming in and sharing your love, sharing your questions. If you have any comments or if something resonates with you that Shaneeta says, go ahead and comment, share what you like, share what you didn't like, share what your thoughts are, and let's have our conversation in the comments. But until next time, we'll see you next week. Another episode of Be Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. All right, see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Be blessed.